All right, so I wanted to show a video. This video is about a different way I record sometimes, depending on the situation. Usually what I do is I'll record each part individually, like you can see here, for instance. And I'm just going to show you kind of like some of the ideas I use. So you'll see I have two parts here for percussion. That's my percussion. And then you'll have the hats, the snares, the kicks, and they're all separated. You could do these together using a drum track, but I tend to use, I use the simpler. And the reason why is because when I get on there, I've shown this before where you can't see my keyboard, but I like to have the different pitches of the kick, right? Or the different pitches of snare, or the different ones of hi-hat. So you can see I'll use multiple hats. It's the same hat, but it's just multiple pitches of that hat. Kind of like on a SP, or you would make the same kick, and maybe you'd make, or you'd take the 16 levels, let's put it like that, on MPC or even on the SP, and you might just play a different pitch. That's all that is. It's the same thing. Okay, so I do that on my snares, my kicks, and my just to give it some variation in the kick sound, so it doesn't sound so the same all the way across. Well, that's how I usually do on drums and percussion. And sometimes on keys, you'll see here I have keys melody, or I have key, this says guitar chords, I have key chords. And so I'll play the chords separate, and this is the chord separate. This is using the ample sounds, their guitar, their Martin guitar. There's a little delay in there that's happening. So let's see that. So you'll see here too, like if you play this, you want it louder, you just grab the group of them and bring them up. When the pieces are all together like that, you get less of a strum sound. But this is me actually playing it. So when you hear this first part, let's go back. So you can see how those need to be kind of more quiet. All right, so I think, hold on a second. I think that's making that racket. Hold on, let me mute this clip. By the way, if you want to mute a clip, it's pretty easy. Just go down to deactivate clip, or you can just hit the 0 on your computer. So the purpose of this is, because this thing here is driving me crazy, but the purpose is to show you can, if you leave this plus on, this is a MIDI arrangement overdub. So you can overdub over the same loop. So you can build the chords first, whatever chords you're playing. Let me show you what I mean. So if you're playing like, let's just play some chords. Right. Go back into the chords. So this is real simple what I'm playing to. I'm not playing anything intricate, but I'm just showing you. So you could record the chords and then go back in and start. And that's what this plus does. And because this has this button, which is capture MIDI, you can record all that while you're doing a one track without even hitting the actual record. And then if you want to keep it, just hit this button. It'll populate the MIDI right in there with your track. So you don't lose anything you played. If you played a cool thing and then you all of a sudden like, man, what was that I played? Because I have the worst memory, and going back and trying to remember it later is very hard for me to do sometimes. I can play a little bit, but I'm not that good at memorizing stuff like that. So anyway, for me that helps, and I'll pull in. There's the pieces to that. So if you play it. So maybe you have this one for where you want like the chorus, or you want to make your melody with it, and then you have the same version, another version of it where you don't have that. Maybe you just have the turnaround, which is like right there in it, and then it leads into you playing this again. So there's options like that, and this is just one way to record. There's so many ways to do this, but I wanted to show you this. Also, the grouping things together on here, a lot of people don't. I'm not gonna say they don't do it. I'm gonna delete that clip because I actually don't want it there. I'm actually gonna bring only the percussion there, and I'm gonna have one that doesn't. But the point is that a lot of people don't know you can like click here, hold down Command, hit 4 track. I'm just putting these 4 together, right? And then right click on them and then hit group the tracks, or Command G. And if you do Command G, it'll give you a group, and then you can rename that group to whatever drums. Now, what's cool about that is if you have a drum bus effect or something, like one effect that you want on the whole group on your returns, you can just plug it right into this and it'll put it on the master channel for those. I don't always do that. I like doing it sometimes just to keep stuff in order, to condense it down. So I'll do it that way. Usually with the drums is the only place I do that. You could do it with your keys if you wanted to, or your chords. It's not really necessary unless you have a ton of tracks that you just feel like are taking up so much space. There's also the option to just touch those and minimize those like that and leave it open. So you could have drums. You can still see what the track is, but you know, and then be able to do that. And then if you want to close it even further, you got that. So I'm gonna leave it there for right now. Then you have the melody. So just wanted to show you that tidbit. I know it probably seems a little sporadic, but just wanted to show you with the recording process. Use your MIDI overdub arrangement if you're trying to work on something, and then use your capture MIDI to capture stuff if you play something. Even if you don't have drums or nothing set up, you just play in a drum rhythm and you like it, use that capture MIDI and then pull it back up. So it's an example of doing that. Here's a bass. Let's see. Just played anything, right? Hit the capture MIDI. Boom, there it is. It's there. Now it played from wherever my start marker was. So my start marker just happened to be there. Wherever you put, if you want it at the beginning, put it over there. It doesn't matter. There's my MIDI notes played. Super simple recording technique. And I think it works really well. So even when you're playing, so I'll do it now. I'll just start playing. I don't even know what I'm gonna play with. Okay, boom. And then hit the MIDI. There it is. That's as good as it gets to me. All right, and I'm not keeping that just because I was just toying around. But anywho, I think if you're using, I mean, and other programs have it too. I think Logic has MIDI capture in it. I don't know if Logic has overdub, but I'm pretty sure they do. It's been out for a while now, and I'm sure they added that feature, some type of MIDI overdub. So you'll have to look into it. I don't have Logic on here anymore because it takes up a lot of space, and I don't use it. as much now because of Ableton. I kind of switched over. It's still a great program. I'm sure Fruity Loops has something in there that you can do with that, but I'm not 100% sure. I have it down here, the demo version, but I honestly opened it just for a project to look at, but I never use it. It's just not my thing, and nothing wrong with that. Use whatever you have. I'm sure Bitwig, if you have Bitwig, has it. But yeah, use your MIDI capture, MIDI overdub. Start putting that into your practice, because a lot of times you'll find that when you're just toying around and you're finding some little rhythm or something that you like naturally, or if you're drumming something in, the same thing, and then you can easily just pull that back up and then take the parts out that you want. Another reason I like to use this type of stuff is, I'm gonna just do some here for you to watch. All right, so now we'll MIDI capture that. There it is. Let's say I like this section here. I can literally highlight it, drag it anywhere and drop it. Or if I want to make this twice, I could go Option, grab that section, put it here, and now it stays there and here. And let's say I want this ending section, so I grab that Option, bring it here, and now I got, whatever bars, and then you can command, and you can do this with audio or MIDI. Highlight them all, hit Command J, and I'm joining them, right? So now they're joined. This is gonna sound terrible, I just played it. Okay, whatever. But you see the point I'm saying, how easy it is to move audio or even MIDI or notes around. It's just that simple. So use these tools to your advantage. You can do a lot of this stuff in mostly all DAWs. I find Ableton to be the easiest for me personally when it comes to doing this. And of course, we all know about the Ableton audio ability to stretch audio is really good in Ableton, and manipulating audio is really good in Ableton. So that's the reason why I like it, because I like to use both. I'm not as MIDI driven as I am audio. However, I have to use MIDI to some degree because a lot of my plugins are MIDI, right? But sometimes once I complete a portion, like let's say this section is done and I like it, I'll keep the MIDI, but I'll bounce it down to an audio, and then I'll just mute the MIDI track. Part of that is save CPU. The other part of that is I prefer just to have the audio and work with the audio. Just my preference. But if you cool with just having MIDI, then work with that. I do both, so it just depends on the mood I'm in and what I'm going for. Anyway, I just thought I'd share those few tips, tricks, and things that I like to do for my workflow. It really helps to speed up the workflow. Building a template, I think I did a video on a template, helps to speed up the workflow also. As you can see, I have my favorite bass already set up, so all I have to do is go in and start playing. If I want to explore, then I will go in and explore, and you can do either one. For some reason, I think I know what happened here. I accidentally changed my tempo. It should have been 70, I think it was just 77. So my tempo changed. But that's another thing too, like if your tempo changed with another program, the audio probably won't stretch properly. With Ableton, it stretches, and the MIDI, of course, will stretch in any any DAW. So just a couple things that I found that I like to use, and let me know what you're using or what your workflow is right now down in the comments. I'd love to hear from other people and see what they do, and maybe I can learn from you just like you learn from me. Or maybe you're not learning from me, but I'm learning from you. Whatever the case may be, we're all learning. So that's part of the joy of doing music. All right, I'm out.